We're here with the Players Coalition today.
Back here with the Players Coalition.
We're here with Mr. Anquan Boldin.
Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins. Saints linebacker Demario Davis.
Jason.
There you go.
And Devin McCourty.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Thanks for having me on here, man.
When it comes to social justice and social impact and what it means, can you just give us a broad definition in terms of what it is your entry point is? What is social justice?
Yeah, for me, man, it's just making a difference in this country, especially when you're talking about African-American communities.
Yeah.
How they've been discriminated against. I guess that would be, the best way to say it.
Yeah.
The fight that we've had to fight for over 400 years and still fighting. And although we've made progress, I think in that fight, we're still not where we need to be as a country.
I think for me, when I think about social justice, I think about the ability to sort of balance the playing field. I saw an interview with Martin Luther King, the doctor, a long time ago, God rest his soul, and in the passing of his day. And he made a comment, and I'd never seen this interview before. He had said that, everybody asks young people or older people or who's ever going into the world of business to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I don't know if you've heard this quote, but he was like, well, what happens if you don't have any boots?
Right.
Right?
Word up.
So some people don't have boots.
Yeah.
And so there's no straps to pull yourself up by. And the world needs to be able to understand that there are those that have not had the same equal opportunities as those that have been in this world. So it's important to balance the playing field. And I had the fortunate opportunity to play this game of football, and I love this game of football. But I also know that life is not all about football.
The coalition is really giving us an opportunity to have, I think, an impact far beyond anything that we even probably thought we could get accomplished when we started out.
And it seems like the Eagles have been a great example of how you've, not just yourself, but a lot of people in that locker room have been able to come together for great causes. One of them of note is the city's bond program that you guys were able to team up together. How were the Eagles and the Eagles players and or even people in the organization able to chip in towards a very unjust system?
Yeah, so one of the things that as we negotiated with the league that we created was each team was supposed to create a social justice fund in which players and staff can put their money, former and current players can put their money, and the organization, the team has to match it up to $250,000. So the first year we did it, I think we were right close to that number. So we're around just under $500,000 that we created in this fund. And we have a board of players with some assistance from the staff that decide where that money goes. And so we put out applications to a ton of the organizations in the city that have to deal with either criminal justice reform, education, or reentry, helping people get jobs and economic assistance. And one of the things that we wanted to do was assist the bail fund. Most cities have a bail fund. And the reason we wanted to do that is because most people have you think if somebody needs bail, they probably committed a crime. Or did something wrong. We start realizing the type of things people get arrested for or are held on bail for. They're just there because they can't afford the fine. It's not about them being innocent or guilty because this is all pre-trial. They're just in jail because they're poor. And so what the bail fund does is you put up money, they use it to get people out, and when that person, most of the times the charges get thrown out, or, nothing ends up happening, and then that money that you use goes right back into the bail fund. So it's recycled and used for more and more people. So I think we raised about $50,000 that we gave to the bail fund that bailed out about 9 people right before Thanksgiving. So they were home for the holiday.
That's incredible.
And then we followed that up in the spring with another event where we had over 60 employers come ready to hire. We invited not only people who are formerly incarcerated, but people who need jobs in the community and their families. We had 20 or so people get jobs before lunch, and another group get called back for follow-up interviews. And out of those 9, I want to say probably 7 of them, cases got thrown out. That money's still in the bail fund. So that $50,000 that we were able to put in there is going to be reused and reused. And obviously all of those people are very, very thankful because literally the only thing that was keeping them from their freedom and charges getting thrown was just money. And a lot of the times we see that in a lot of the disparities or the way our criminal justice system works is if you have money for representation, you have money to buy your freedom, what you do or the crime you committed really doesn't matter. It's just more so about punishing those who have less protection.
Damara, for the people that are watching, what can they do to help? What can they do to help not only just with Parchman Correctional Facility, but as we mentioned as well, this is a massive issue in prison reform. How can people get involved and how can people help try and make substantial change in this?
Number one, become informed. It's very easy. Just, hear an issue, hear what's going on, become informed. Do research. Don't just take your own opinion, like in the way that you feel about it. Don't just stay in your emotions, like go to your mind and like become informed about the issue. Like what are people saying about it? What are the facts about it? Become informed. And once you know knowledge, like, watch documentaries, so much information, we have access to, you read books, you can listen to podcasts, you can watch documentaries. There's so many ways to take information in. Or you can go and talk to people, find people who are well-versed in the area and learn. That's what we do. We take time to learn about the issue and then find a way to get involved. There are several ways that you can get involved. Like you can donate to certain stuff if that's the way you have. You can give your time. You can give your time to certain stuff. Like people are always looking for volunteers. There are a lot of nonprofits working in different spaces in criminal justice reform.
They're always looking for books too.
Yeah,
always looking for books.
And so if you have other resources that can be donated to these things, reentry programs, they need volunteers. They need people who are going to be willing and able. And an owner or something like that of a company be willing to help give people jobs when they get out of jail. And so I think there are a lot of ways that people can get involved. And I think even being a voice, like, hear an issue, hear something, somebody speaking on the issue in the right way, publicizing that, retweeting it, posting it, commenting, making sure that your friends are understanding what stance that you're taking. Like, take a stance, reach out, go and vote, become informed on. There's so many bills that come up at election time that nobody is even aware of that's going on in their city. And that's the thing that's gonna, affect you the most. Like, so you need to be well versed on the bills that are up to get passed in law, and you need to vote them up or vote them down. And so you have to be informed to do that. And, constantly petitioning your city officials to make sure that they have fire in them to be accountable and make change around you.
How is it that you step into helping to change it? What are some things that you do? What are your entry points?
For me, when you understand legislation and how the game works, then that's how you enter.
Okay.
Like, I play the game the same way they play the game.
Okay.
I know where, I know money moves people. I know you can't have an agenda without a check.
Okay.
And I think for us, that has to be our plan.
Okay.
You study people, you study communities like the LGBT community. You study that community and how they got things done. They're showing you the blueprint of how to get things done and fairly quickly.
So what are some things that you've done on the ground? Do you do study groups for legislation? I know that the Players Coalition specifically has done court watches. So what are some different practical things that you do or you would have folks do that you found that have worked in terms of evening the playing field and introducing balance?
What I did was study the numbers.
Okay.
I looked at our Congress, how it was made up. I looked at our local council, how it was set up.
Yep.
And I started looking at the numbers, and I was like, man, if you don't have equal representation, you're not gonna have equal voice.
Right.
So how do you get behind people to be that voice in the room? And what I come to find out in going through these different deals is you got to have an agenda for one.
Okay.
You cannot have an agenda with no check, because if you have an agenda with no check, you just have a blank agenda, because they're not going to do anything about it. But the minute you put money behind it, you tell the candidate, look, here's our agenda, can you do this?
Gotcha.
And if you can't do this, we're going to find someone who can, and we'll take this $2 million back.
Yeah.
If you can't. Usually they'll find a way to get it done.
Okay.
So I'm just like, I do things behind the scenes. I'm not, I understand my role in this whole deal.
Sure.
I took a page out of a guy who wrote the book, Watching White Guys Have All the Fun.
Yeah.
I took a page out of his book. It's like, hey, I don't have to be in front of it, but I can put a check behind it.
I got you. You can easily become discouraged if you look at kind of the status of marginalized people, black folk in the United States today in terms of issues of equity, women in terms of issues and positions of equity and equality. Where do you see hope?
I mean, really see hope in what we're doing now.
Yeah.
You look at the Players Coalition, you look at Anquan's focus and just his strong desire to see change.
Yes.
And really applying a true work ethic. Like we talk about athletes and how hard they work and things like that.
Yes.
Anquan has really taken that to the Players Coalition. Same type of mentality, same type of focus. And I think when people see that, they can follow that.
Okay.
And so now as you take, that type of leadership and you enter into the NFL teams, and it really spreads. So now you have a large net of folks that are really looking to have an impact and not just doing it for, a clip in the newspaper.
Yeah.
They're really doing it to see change.
Yeah.
And are completely fine if nobody ever hears that they made an impact,
Right.
but that they see that the impact was made.
What made you a leader in this space? How is it that you stepped into the positions? I mean, and there are multiple positions. So, I mean, easily we can say that you're one of the co-founders of the Players Coalition, but you've been interested and attached to and doing this work of equality because of what?
Yeah, for me, like, I don't even know if I'm a leader in this space.
You are.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, I just feel like I've been blessed with a platform.
Yeah.
And for me not to use it in this way would be irresponsible.
Yeah.
So I think anytime a person is blessed with something, like, there's a responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I look at it as me answering the call to my responsibility. Like at some point, I have to give an account to God for what I did with my life. Mm-hmm. And I can't just go to God and be like, well, I won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, and?
Yeah.
Like, how do you impact people? How do you change lives? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you make your life on this earth meaningful?
Yes.
And it's not about making money or any of those things. How did you improve the life of somebody else? And for me, that's truly how I look at it.
Okay.
And when you look at this country and you see all the injustices that go on, you know what I'm saying, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even have enough time to sit here and rattle off the number of things that is happening in this country. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the times, it doesn't get addressed because we don't shine a light on it.
Yes.
Anytime you shine a light on something, you have the ability to change it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's why I do what I do.